Hello, this is Bill Ergle. I produced and narrated this media. It's defense of my dissertation topic. We're ready to begin, so let the cameras roll. I think most people would say, myself included, that college life, in many respects, was synonymous with the life of the fictional character in the life of Riley, who had a carefree and content existence. As a reminder, look at this generic video clip of college students leisurely walking across campus on their way to and from classes. I would guess most are not too concerned about the complexities of such topics as college finances, except, of course, when it comes to paying tuition or having enough money to snag tickets to the next Taylor Swift concert. My proposed dissertation topic examines college finances at a deeper level. My topic, budget alignment with organizational goals, an evaluation study of a college, evaluates a college's standing in achieving
Initial
this
research
alignment.
into my
The
dissertation
college
topic
shown here
at Goodness
is
and
one I
colleges and
graduated from
universities
50 years ago
nationwide produced
and will be
startling
identified with
findings.
the pseudonym
If made public,
College
these
of
findings could
Goodness.
potentially turn smiles into looks of concern and confusion on the faces of current-day college students like those now being shown.
The uninformed student of college finance might assume annual funds provided in a college's budget are always targeted to meet the short and long-term goals of the educational institution. My initial research into the subject shows colleges and universities,
When budgets are
including some with
established without
sizable
having
annual
a
budgets,
tie to meaningful
do not
goals,
align
it is
budgeted
like
funds
playing
with
roulette.
organizational
Once the
goals.
roulette wheel
They
starts
shoot
spinning,
blindly in hopes
no
of
one can
hitting the
predict with
target,
any
when
certainty
in fact the
into what
target or
slot the
goal
ball will
has not
fall.
been defined.
Visualize putting all your funds next to you at a conference table and trying to determine the best method of distribution to those seated around without having those funds tied to organizational goals. You might as well go to the top of the nearest building and throw the money onto the pavement below and then look to see where it has landed, or metaphorically where the ball has dropped. Your limited chances of winning are about the same. The root cause behind this failure appears to be outdated budgetary systems used essentially for counting, like the ancient abacus tool, and for cost control. These systems are set up for the sole purpose of ensuring funds are spent in compliance with spending rules, not to measure progress in meeting short and long-term goals. There appears to be more concern over not exceeding phone or rent budgets, for example, than knowing whether budgeted funds are being directed towards meeting student learning goals. The benefits of aligning the budget with organizational goals are abundant, especially for a small private college like Goodness. The lack of public funding, combined with narrow support from the base of constituents and alumnus, increases the need for colleges to use the entirety of tuition and fees to cover the operating costs of the institution. When available funding resources are used essentially for the support of fixed operating costs, student outcomes are stagnated. To make funds available for discretionary spending on student outcomes, while at the same time keeping tuition costs down in order to remain competitive, Goodness must be diligent in its use of scarce resources.
My proposed dissertation effort will evaluate current KMO conceptual
Gather
framework
needed data.
influences that goodness
Qualitative
and make
interviews
recommendations
will
for
be held
improvement.
with
Many questions
individuals
must be
and
addressed.
in focus
Under
groups.
knowledge influences, does College of Goodness budgetary staff have the necessary knowledge, skills, and abilities to properly address the need to align the budget with organizational goals? Does staff have the skill set to develop concise, meaningful goals in a smart format? Do they know how to tie budgetary resources to these goals? Further, can the current Zanzibar budgetary software used by Goodness be programmed to align the budget to goals of the organization? The CFO staff have the skill needed to analyze and make needed software revisions? Motivational influences could also affect Goodness's effort to attain the goal of aligning its budget with organizational goals. Motivation is a key element to success. Don't believe me? Ask Denzel Washington.
So you got to get out there. You got to give it everything you got, whether it's your time, your talent, your prayers, or your treasures. Because remember this, you will never see a U-Haul behind a hearse. I'll say it again. You will never see a U-Haul behind a hearse. You can't take it with you. The Egyptians tried it, and all they got was robbed.
One key theory of motivation is expectancy value. Do college budgeting and planning staffs and college leadership have an expectation of value from the work effort? Do they perceive budgeting based on strategic goals is valuable and worthwhile? Moreover, do they have the self-efficacy to believe it is likely they will be successful in accomplishing the goal? Organizational influences have also been recognized as affecting the ability of Goodness to align budgets with organizational goals. Research shows higher education organizations have not been historically open to innovation and change.
Who's innovating in
Renowned
higher education
economist
right
and
now, and what are
educator
they
Dr.
learning from
Larry
this
Summers,
innovation?
President Emeritus
enough
of
people
Harvard and former
are
Secretary of the
innovating enough in
Treasury,
higher education
spoke on
know,
the
the place
slowness of
to
change in
start
higher education.
is General Electric looks nothing like it looked in 1975. Harvard or Yale or Princeton or Stanford look a lot like they looked in 1975. There to say is that for something that's all about ideas and for something that's all about young people, the pace of innovation in higher education is stunningly slow.
Lastly, the shareholder goals for Goodness are as follows. By June 2020, align 20% of the budget to organizational goals. By June 2022, align 100% of the budget to organizational goals. If the KM influences are successfully addressed by Goodness, it is anticipated that these goals will be met. The end.